low voice. Slightly increase the voice.
Now is it audible, sir?
Audible,
Yeah.
slightly sound higher voice, so
Yeah.
that I can hear, and others also will be in a position to listen through laptops.
Okay.
Okay, sir. Then we have Madhav Reddy. Hello. Manoj, hello. Murli, hello. Seshnala Raghuvi. Thanks for joining us today. Janardhan, thank you again for joining us today. I think someone recently joined, Anand Kumar. Oh, hello, Anand Kumar to you as well.
Lavanya, what did you say? Madhav Peddi, somebody?
Yes, ma'am. I can
Madhav
see the
Peddi? Name?
Madhav Reddy, yes.
Ma'am, sorry, ma'am.
Madhav Reddy.
He is my friend, Madhav Reddy.
Madhav Reddy. I thought
Yes, yes.
Madhav Peddi.
No,
That
no.
is our surname, so I wanted to know who he was. Okay.
Good evening, I am Manoj.
Hello, Manoj.
Yeah, Balabhadra Patrani. Yeah.
Oh, very good, Manoj. Oh, this is
Yes, yes.
Mantri Pragada
Ah,
Markandeyulu.
Namaskaram.
Okay.
Bonara?
Shobha Devi husband.
Yes, yes. Hello.
Okay, thanks. Nice to meet
That's why I
you.
was like
nice.
calling out names.
Yeah,
Because
great,
really
great.
can't make out for us. It's like, so a little bit of
Hi, good
introduction would be
evening. This
good.
is Madhav Reddy here. Swapnil and has introduced me to this group. So I just joined for the first time. Thank you very much.
Great. So
Welcome,
nice
Madhav Reddy, to the group.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Surya ma'am Nagleda, welcome.
Yeah, hi Ravi.
Hello. Hello everyone. This is Ravi. And there is nothing about me to introduce. So, hello Mahbub sir, good evening. It's nice to see you.
Hello everyone, this is
You're
Shafina.
as usual handsome.
Hey, Shavlin. Nice to see you.
And
Thank you so much for attending.
Hello.
It's my pleasure.
Oh,
We all are
there he
very
is.
excited for Dhruva.
Yeah, man of
Since he's a HydRAW
man of the
member, we should
evening.
make sure that we attend the event and congratulate him personally. Right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Great to have you. Hello, Nali ma'am. Good evening.
Hello, everyone. Good evening.
Yes.
Good
Good
evening.
evening, madam.
Now that Nali ma'am has joined, we can start. We'll not wait for anybody else.
Yeah, Surya ma'am, Nalini ma'am,
Yeah.
senior, most supportive members of the group, always reliable, always show up, always there. For it's
Right.
it's
Whenever there is
Anand
a
Kumar.
yes.
uh it's 6:05. 5 minutes is enough to wait in Hyderabad, or how does it?
5 minutes is less, I would say.
Right. Let's give a couple of minutes. Pratima comes here.
Yeah, Pratima will join, I suppose.
Hey, think of the devil and the devil is here. Sorry, angel.
No, she is Vasanta. Think of Vasanta, and Vasanta is here.
Oh, yes, right. Vasanta. Think of Vasanta and Vasanta is joined. Great. Hello, Pratima. We're talking about you only. We were just saying, let Pratima join and we'll start the event.
Hi.
And you just logged in.
How are you? How is everyone?
Hi.
As usual, nothing has changed.
Some people have joined, Ishwar, Sheila, and Raghuveer.
Yeah.
So just
Pragya Nalla is Dhruva, your sister?
Yeah. I'm a sister.
Yeah, Pragna. Yeah.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
And Anand Kumar actually he's also he's my brother cousin.
Okay.
Hi,
Hello. Hello,
this is
sir.
Anand here.
Okay.
so the Nalla family out to support their kith. In
Full
full form.
support for the boy.
Yeah, I wish my family was like this.
Come on, Ravi. I was there on your book launch.
Yeah, somewhere they just took last lines and they did not even care until I brought my mother up onto the stage.
Oh, so many people were there.
So we'll wait a couple of
Nice.
minutes till 6:08 or something, and then we'll start it. And
Yes.
here comes Hari sir, all the way from Kerala.
Yeah. Good evening, Hari sir.
Mehboob sir,
Should we go?
according to Hindu mythology,
Huh?
next year is going to be very prosperous. The name itself is Shubhakrit. Shubhakrit.
Oh, wow, wow.
So
That's really
people, astrologers are predicting by March, Corona fear will be gone, and from April we will be free. Then we can have a real meeting instead of this virtual meeting. So long, almost 3 years, 2.5 years we have met each other.
Absolutely, ma'am. Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Krit means what?
Shubhakrit.
Krit
That
means
is, Shubha means auspicious.
right?
Krit is auspicious works, work. Krutyam means work,
Right. Activities. Right.
activity.
Right. So all activities will be auspicious in the coming year, and we are not waiting for that to come. So we did a thing. We are launching.
Yes, we are all waiting for that.
No. For Dhruva's book, we are not even waiting for that. We are launching today itself.
Yeah, we are launching today.
And
No.
hope the success of the book and the writer continues in the Shubhakrita Nama Samvatsaram 2022.
Yeah, sure.
Right. And
We'll all buy Dhruva's book
sure.
and have it as book of the month once. What our writers have written, we can have one of them.
All right.
Yeah, can't wait. Yes.
So we have Shavlin joining us from Jammu, Hari sir from Kerala. So anybody from this more distance from that? This more I think that's the farthest we went today. The international guys will come in next half an hour or so, and we will proceed with the first session. And for all the attendees today, warm welcome to HydRAW and ICA Press session today. And I may request people to go on mute when they are not talking, so that it doesn't. If you can go on mute and unmute yourself when you talk, that will be much clear for everybody and for the recording also. So I will do my 2 minutes of.
Mark sir, I think you should go on mute. Yeah, there's some disturbance. Few people are not on
Okay,
mute.
let me mute him for a minute.
Can you mute?
I have muted. Okay, so here we go. We have about 25 people in attendance, and others can join when the session starts. I give my couple of minutes of standard bytes that I normally have, and it's a small thing that everybody has to bear for HydRAW events. And then I will hand it over to the master of ceremonies today, Lavanya, and the core coordinator and organizer being Swapna. So on screen you see HydRAW and Eka welcome you today. Book launch and introduction. We are launching a book and we are introducing a second book. And this event is being organized by HydRAW, which stands for Hyderabad Readers and Writers, which I founded in the year 2018. Which HydRAW was founded in the year 2018, and the main concept behind finding this is, or founding this is, to bridge uh, the gap, or being a bridge between writers and readers and writers. And the format is that every month on the last Sunday we have a meetup where both readers and writers come. We have a book or books of the month that we read together and discuss in the meet. We also discuss the books we have read and describe one of the books. First 1.5 year or so we were we were offline every Sunday, last Sunday of the month at Replay Social Cafe Kondapur. Last year the pandemic hit and we went online. We did not. The show has to run. We kept on the show going on. So now, as of today, we have the monthly sessions online on the last Sunday. The other part of the format is every month on the second or third Saturday we have a special launch, special event. Special events are book launches or book reading or play reading or uh, talks by our members. They give a small presentation of one of their favorite books. So that happens on a second Sunday of the month. So, needless to say, the special event of December is really special for us as we bring you the novel Blues by Dhruva. And first time we are hosting an international author, George Steenrod from the USA, will be joining us soon. Our partners are AIFEST. You see the logo at the top right of the screen of the poster there. AIFEST is short for All India Forum for English Students, Scholars and Trainers. Actually, it has been there since '94 and has about a couple of thousand members, 2,200 to start with, and then I think right now they're about 20K members. Their YouTube channel is very active, posting so many literary events that go on, organized by their members, workshops on literature, soft skill training, book discussion, and so on. AFS has been our reliable media partner for the last year or so. They have consistently recorded our special events and broadcast on their YouTube channel. So they are our media partners. Bottom right, you see Eka Press, the publishers of the book today, and owned by Swapnil Saurav, who is actually the main backbone of HydRAW for being the core logistics, operations, anything that has to be organized. Swapnil takes care of that. He's the backbone, I would say. And on the bottom left, you see a logo. Today's partner is of HydRAW. It's Bare Thoughts Lit, and the short is BT Lit. This is a publishing venture founded by Lavanya Nukavarapu, who's also the host for today. BT Lit will promote upcoming titles and new age authors as an imprint of Ika Press of Swapnil Saurav. And the basket of services that BT Lit gives will be from story ideation to lifelong promotion. The core value of BT Lit and Lavanya will be you walk in with a thought, you will walk out with a book, and that's her guarantee. And both of these main publisher Ekapress and the imprint can be accessed from ekapress.org. And finally, and most importantly, we're really proud to have an eminent literator of the city, uh, um, Dr. Mantri Pragada Markandeyulu, and his experience in literature and his thoughts and guidance will always be useful for us. So my job is done, Lavanya. Over to you now.
Thank you.
Take it from here. Thank you.
Yeah, so it was nice of you to give the introduction on Hydra and also explain a little bit about all the other logos that we have, all our partners. Okay, so we'll move forward. But just before moving forward, I see a couple of people have joined. So, Poonam, good evening. Welcome to the event. Okay. So before we start, yeah, like Mehboob sir, Mehboob already said, we have already welcomed Mr. Mantri Pragada Markandeyulu. And you have to pardon me, sir. I'm not going to pronounce your whole name. I will call you Mark. I hope that's okay with you. Right. So Mr. Mark or Mantri Pragada Markandeyulu, also known as Mark, is a poet novelist, song, and story writer. He is a retired officer from PSU and a permanent resident of Hyderabad. He is the founder of POETIC CHARMINAR Group, which is for literary, arts, culture, poetic, and research academy. His literary contributions in way of ebooks are Entanglements, which consists of 20 short stories in English, a book that is called, a book on quotes that is titled as Mark's Quotes, The Dead, Doctor and the Ghost, which is a fiction, NGO, Systems and Procedures, a non-fiction, My Flower to Your Heart, and many other short stories. He has also written short stories and novels in Telugu and songs in English, Telugu, and Hindi languages. He is an honorary doctorate in literature from ITMUT, Brazil. He has received many awards in literature and for his work in global affairs. A few amongst many are 2021 Golden Eagle World Award winner for literary excellence. Hispan World Writers Union UHE Peru. He was honored with Gujarat Sahitya Academy and Motivational Strips Literary Excellence on the occasion of 75th India's Independence Day. He was honored as a Royal Commemorative Peace and Humanity Award by Kuchai Malavaram Peace International Institute, Philippines. He is also honored as a Royal Success International Book of Records 2019 and Dr. Sarvepalli Radhakrishna Rattan Award 2021 and Mahatma Gandhi Humanity Award 2021. Wow, so many honors and awards. My tongue was actually, I tried so much to be very clear, but still my tongue got twisted in some of the awards and the honorary awards. Sorry for that. But that's our chief guest, Mr. Mark, and I would leave it now, the stage for him to give a brief address. So what do you say?
From my side,
Yes, sir. So,
this is Mantri Pragada, Markandeyulu, Hyderabad, India. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Firstly, I thank the management of EK Publishing House, that is Eka Publishers, Miapur, Hyderabad, India, for asking me to be the chief guest for today's two books launching program. One book is Blues by Mr. Dhruva Nalla from India, and the other book is Tomorrow, Love and Troubles by Mr. G.M. Steenrod, USA. I also thank Miss Lavanya Nukavarapu, who is the host for this coveted two books launching program. I am very happy to be here for this program as a chief guest because I am also an author, novelist, poet, and story writer hailing from Hyderabad, India. I wish all the best to Mr. Dhruva Nalla and Mr. G.M. Steenrod, all the best in their future book publishing programs endeavor. I wish best of luck to them in the book sales too. I want to spell out few words pertaining to the literature so that all the young and upcoming writers turning as authors to best know what the literature is. Now I request you to relay the my speech which I have sent to you, madam, or you need me to
no, sir. We can
speak out
play
there.
the video. Swapnil, you there? Can you please play the video, the audio? Okay.
Yeah.
Swapnil?
You want to play the recorded one?
No,
or-
Swapnil will play.
Okay. After that, I will speak about the book's authors.
It looks like some technical problem.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was playing, but I think sound is not coming. Let me try again.
If you want me to click from here, I can click.
Can you play, sir?
Can I play from here?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay.
No, otherwise, I was playing, but sound is not coming. Maybe I'll just change the sound source, and it should be there.
Is it visible? Just listen. Are you able to hear?
No. Let Swapnil play it because
Yes, sir,
on
let me
Google
play,
Meet,
sir.
yeah, you have to change the source or otherwise it won't.
Let me play.
DBM, PGDC, DCP.
Are you able to hear?
Nairobi, Kenya, East Africa. I want to spell out a few words.
Or can I speak?
As a
Let me try playing, sir, once.
literature and literary work. I like to encourage.
Let me try playing, sir, once.
Can I speak? Can I read out?
Yes, sir, you can read out.
Okay. It is likely 10 to 15 minutes. Kindly listen to the good words about the literature, sir, which is useful for all the young, upcoming, and experienced authors. Words. Words meaning never be the same. The usage of words meaning will be different. I want to spell out few words on this occasion. I, as an author, poet, give much value to the literature and literary work. I like to encourage all the young writers and authors, poets and poetesses who are interested in literary works in their future literary endeavors. Today's young and upcoming authors and poets, or say poetesses, may become legendary authors tomorrow. Who knows? But one thing is sure, one has to contribute some time towards studying, writing something or the other. This practice keeps authors and writers' mind in good working shape. I knew well today's participant authors have geared up with their literary words and are ready to contribute, speak and say something on their literary contribution for the improvement and development of global literary works. On this auspicious occasion, I would like to take liberty to tell something extra on literature. Just please listen to this. Words. Non-linguistic language is generally mingled and used in other languages by many people when they are at other languages spoken places. Even the foreigners' languages are quite often mingled with other languages due to expression of words and speaking problem. People who live in state country borders, the impact of mingled or clubbed languages used will be high and is very often observed. European languages like Italian, Russian, Spanish, Greek, Latin are sometimes inter and intra-mingled, and like that in Indian languages, Sanskrit, Pali, Devanagari, Dravida, Arabic, Parsi words are mostly mingled and inter and intra-connected while speaking and writing. In the present globalization scenario, Many words of different countries' languages are used very often so that people are able to understand what the other person is saying. People like motherland and mother tongue language respect their language and shower affection on their local language and would like to express their feeling while speaking, writing. This is called Sahityam, which speaks of literary expertise in respective living literary areas. The language spoken and written indicates people's culture and national integration. The word makes magic in our lives. The love, passion, fashion, mission, relation, etc. will be in order when we use words properly, sensibly, and tactfully. Languages are made to use according to the situation using proper proverbs, quotations, phrases, short stories, examples, experiences to give effective suggestions when people in problems will definitely give solace when you work with proper modulation. It gives more impact and importance to the situation. When you want to give the information, you should use words properly and with firm voice. Use minimum words and try to convey the message. Lengthy and deviated conversation weakens the purpose. They may lose the interest to get information or suggestions. All the time, we cannot practice that type of procedure. By seeing the situation, we can change phrases, quotations, proverbs, make the conversation very interesting and effective. A balanced, positive talk with durable, pleasant, positive vibration makes the other person feel like spending more time in your company. A kind of bond will be created. We should use the language with proper pitch and it should depict your feelings, emotions, reactions, and your moods. According to the other person should understand, the other person should understand and react into the situation. The language or the words used should convey the message correctly without confusion. The language or the words should convey the message correctly without confusion. Perfectly, this usage of words is very easy. Keep the mind cool and clear in your thoughts. Be firm when you want to convey the message. Do not get confused when others disturb you. While you talk with others, words usage should be limited. When you put it on the paper, it can convey the message properly and completely with balanced good expression. Indian languages have so many appropriate expressive words. We can play with the words to convey any impression, expression, emotion, reaction, or feeling, and so on. But think with the mind, heart, and soul. Think in a positive way and deliver with proper words. People should remember and think of you like a human being. Another important aspect which could change and transform your life in a better way by increasing your influence and improving your relationship and lead to the road of success depends on using the words carefully while speaking to others. The words are very important and powerful tool and it all depends on how you use these words. As explained in earlier lectures, these words carry tremendous energy of your strong intent or will. the energy of confidence, the energy of your assertiveness, and these words, which are nothing but sounds, carry a very powerful magnetic field, which is very intelligent. When these words are spoken with 100% pure intent, honesty, conviction, etc., of the positive energies, it will affect the magnetic field of listener or listeners. Every human being a magnetic, will have his own magnetic field, which is invisible and forms a circle around the body. When we give speech in the form of words, of magnetic words, it touches the magnetic field of listeners, and in physics one reaction takes place which is called as inductance. Here, when they are meeting at one point, there will be an exchange of energies, and these energies carry your thoughts, your suggestions, your ideas, your concepts. If your thoughts are full of inner conviction, honesty, pure in nature, will definitely influence the magnetic fields of listeners in a very positive way, and all will be attracted towards how you and will be more receptive. While addressing, you should also follow certain tactical steps which we have already described in various prerequisites, like change your voice, that is modulating your voice ups and downs, will also have a very good positive impact on others. This was proved by the scientists working at NASA. Vedas are recited with a very specific and particular modulation of voice. When you speak this way, sending the messages in the form of mantras create a very magnetic field which will influence the magnetic fields of us and brings about a positive reaction and response. Hence, try to culture your voice, and you can practice at home, learn how to modulate the voice, when to take the voice up and when to take the voice down. But one thing, use words in a proper way. They should be very polite and very appealing. I also give lot of importance to the usage of words and nothing but words, because the words are the only powerful tools of the communication. If the words are not there, there is no communication. And when there is no communication, there is no evolution. Hence, try to use words very sparingly and talk only when you require. Thus, you can conserve lot of inner energy. One small wrongly used word will spoil the entire interview or interpersonal relationship. Hence, always practice and practice your presentation at home. I had seen lot of seniors and highly successful people plan much before and list out things on a piece of paper, make rehearsals before the actual presentation, and achieved tremendous success. Only one word about which most of the people, mostly the teenagers, do not understand, but use very frequently the word as individuality. A teenage boy or a girl, when the elders comment about their dressing code, they react that they had their own individuality, they had their own freedom to wear what they would like to wear. This they call as individuality. According to them, individuality means to have their own freedom, starting from the dressing code, their physical appearance, their conscience, their ideas, their germ, all these in one single capsule called individuality. individuality. But one thing they forget is all these impressions, ideas, concepts are formed by watching around their environments. The type of movies nowadays they see, the type of magazines, the type of advertisements, the type of concepts, they are highly influenced by the surrounding environment. Unfortunately, the reading hobby has come down and the type of books available in the market, they will never help in the self-development of the individual person. Right from the childhood, your college atmosphere, the school atmosphere, the ragging by the senior students in the most uncivilized ways, and then the pictures you see, the books reading, the magazines you are reading, and the type of friends and the types of movies, all these are making the artificial personality. Earlier, the scientists used to behave with the genetic influence would be more on the personality trait, but the recent studies have proved that the environment influence is greater than the genetic influence. Nowadays, the entire generation is under the influence of the surrounding environment. Thus, the real potentials are masked by the artificial real personality traits. There is always a conflict between the natural personality traits and acquired personality traits from the surrounding environments and the social conditions. That is the reason the teenagers are unable to resolve the inner conflicts. One is natural and the other one is unnatural. This is the reason most of the youngsters are terminating their lives before realizing the potentials. The influencing personalities like the cinema stars, both actresses and actors, are superimposing on the natural personality traits of the youngsters, mostly the teenagers. That is how they lost their own hidden potentials and talents. Mostly they have become imitators than originators. They are capable of producing and contributing so many useful things to the entire world, but unfortunately, as informed earlier, that their own personality is being suppressed as they imitate the personality traits of the actors and the actresses. The
That's a
celebrities
very
do
strong
not care.
message, Mark, sir. That was a
The
very strong
celebrities
message.
do not care for the welfare of the society and for the sake of money even promote the cheapest
Sir,
products.
perfect, sir. Sir, I have to stop you here because we're running out of time. So really sorry for that. But I promise you that we play your entire speech on our Hydro and other social media
Okay,
accounts
okay, okay.
so
Right, right.
that people can,
Listen fully.
fully,
Leisurely.
yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Because we are
yeah.
short of time.
Okay.
But I
Uh,
totally agree with your message.
Okay, no problem.
Yes, yes, my book, you were saying something.
Ms. Markandeyulu sir was saying that after his talk, he will address the two authors, and
Yeah,
we have both Dhruva and George with us now.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, hello, George.
Can I spell out the authors and books
Yes,
subject?
1 minute, sir. Good morning, George. Can you please come on the camera? And, George, are you there? Yes.
Hello.
Hello. A very good morning to
Good
you. And I
morning to
think
you.
it's too early for you. What
A
is
little
that?
bit early.
6:30.
I think it's 6 or just about there. 6:11.
Okay, too early for you. I even don't get up at 6 o'clock. So it's yeah. Okay. So yes, sir, Mark, sir. So here we have George, and we have Dhruva as well. So yes, please go ahead with your address for the two authors. Sir, over to you, sir. Mr. Mark.
Can I
Yes, sir. Yes,
can
sir.
I speak about the authors and books?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah. Book title is Blues, about the author Mr. Dhruva Nalla. Mr. Dhruva, the author of book Blues, has his master's at the University of Texas, Arlington, USA. Currently, he is working at Tech Mahindra company. From his childhood, he was intrigued by epic stories like Mahabharata and Ramayana. As such, he loved the idea of creating a story of his mind thoughts. The feeling of author Dhruva was strengthened and went stronger when he was doing his bachelor's in RMK Engineering College. Coming to the point of book Blues, this is a love story based on a true love story which talks about depression and mental health. A lot of among people are silently suffering from depression and anxiety, unable to understand the mind wavelength of such people and the related problems such people are facing. Few people are committing suicide. Few such people are unwilling to share their issues with others and with psychiatrists. This book work shows the suffering and impediment of those people in the form of a love story. The story presentation is good. The sequences projected are good. The story is well written. The work of this author, Mr. Dhruva Nalla, is really tremendous and written in a meticulous manner with a well thought of a theme. It is a good storyline and a must read for all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Now, book, book 2, Tomorrow, Love and Troubles, written by and authored by Mr. G. M. Steenrod from USA, United States of America. Mr. G. M. Steenrod studies at the knee of the universe. He has a peculiar fascination with human nature. He is also a recovering academic with 4 different degrees, a former computer programmer, entrepreneur, and an expert martial artist. Mr. G. M. Steenrod has successfully written non-fiction for decades with a focus on making hard things approachable and useful in daily life. About the book, a troubled 20-something female genius with a sexual kink tries to solve a mystery and discovers a tech that could destroy humanity. Cassie's tech genius mother, Ada, was responsible for creating much of that new balance. Cassie is an artist celebrated across the 2 planets. She was born into a world that has seen climate catastrophe, unstable governments, giant quantum computers, and routine space travel. From that crucible, of change, a new culture with the delicacy of a spider web has risen. Cassie's tech genius mother, Ada, was responsible for creating much of that new balance. She built the software needed to connect people at a level primitive 21st century social networks could only fantasize about. When Cassie is 17, Ada disappears and Cassie drowns herself in a world of brilliant artistic projects and sexual adventure. As a 20-something, Cassie is driven to find out what happened to her mother. As she pokes at the mystery, she disturbs the delicate web that holds together humanity, that holds together humanity. Enemies emerge from the shadows to twist her mind at every turn. She is faced with a choice: let it go or risk humanity itself. This story is well presented, good presentation, worth reading, and worth buying by the readers throughout the globe. This is my personal opinion. Thank you very much. Nice of you, kind of you for listening to this.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
so
sir.
much. You being awarded with numerous Peace Awards and Literary Excellence Awards, you talking about the two authors is really great. And I hope all of the audience here will go ahead and buy these two books. Both are two different books. One is about depression, mental health, contemporary, current state of what we are. The second is a very futuristic story, totally sci-fi, very detailed book. I just started reading the book. Blues, I have already read it. In fact, Blues was also edited by myself and my book jointly. This was a part of a Vigilet services that we had offered. And I've just started reading George's book. I hope to complete it soon. But as of now, I am really enjoying the book. So we'll come back to George in a couple of minutes after we kind of talk about the first book, which is Blues, and we launch it as well today because today is also the launch of Blues. So just hold on your sci-fi thoughts for George until we talk about mental health and depression and other things that are circling the Blues. But why so much seriousness? I think we had a very heavy speech from Mr. Mark, and I think it's time for some fun games. So we also have a quiz for all of you here, and let's see how many of you are actually literary experts. Okay. So for that, I'm going to throw out a question in between for all of the audience. Okay, so be very attentive. Okay, guys, you have a chance to win a book from us. What is that book that I'm not going to tell you? But you might win views, you might win an anthology from us, or maybe a gift voucher for George's book. We don't know that. But you have to answer the question. And I know this is online, so no cheating, please. Please be honest to yourself. No Googling. Okay? No Googling. I trust you, and I'll go ahead and ask the question, but you guys please be honest to yourself and don't Google. Okay? And this is a multiple choice question, so you have alternatives also. Just make sure that you choose the right alternative. So the first question that is coming up for you is from Indian literature. Alright? So all ears? All ears? Okay. Question. Which Bengali poet is also known as Vidrohi Kobi, rebel poet during independence movement? Which Bengali poet is also known as a rebel poet during the independence movement? Multiple choice. Jibananda Das, Rabindranath Tagore, Qazi Nazrul Islam, and Daulat Qazi. Do you want the options again? Jibananda Das, number 1. Number 2, Rabindranath Tagore. Number 3, Qazi Nazrul Islam. Number 4, Daulat Qazi. Any takers? Anyone wants to answer the question? Oh, you already have it. Great, Swapnil, thank you. Come on, anyone? We will exclude George because this is Indian literature, so he probably...
Lavanya, I think it is Rabindranath Tagore.
Okay. Anyone else?
But Surya ma'am, Rabindranath Tagore is Gurudev, not Vidrohit Kobi.
Correct. Come on, Nebu, you're not supposed to give those hints, yeah? Somebody else will pick up.
I think it's A.
For me, it's A.
Jibananda Das. Okay.
Chandrakala, can you stop your screen share,
now
please?
50-50. So there's no point, right?
Chandrakala,
So
can you stop your screen share, please? Chandrakala, can you stop your screen share, please?
Swapnil, can we flash the answer or I should go ahead?
Swapnil, screen share, please.
So the correct answer is Qazi Nazrul Islam. He was called as a rebel poet.
I'm sorry. Swapnil, there is some dissonance here. Jitendra had raised his hand, but Lavanya, you didn't give him a chance. So.
Oh, sorry. Was it? Okay. All right. I'm sorry, Jitendra. But
No,
that, please be honest.
I told the wrong answer. It's okay.
He's honest. Okay. So nobody wins now. What
Nobody's getting a book.
Please put the screen question and then you give the answer again once, please.
So, Lavanya, I can go ahead. I'm sharing my screen.
Yes.
No, but when she...
Qazi Nazrul Islam.
Yes. Thank you for that. Okay. All right. But I'm happy with all of you. No one Googled. So that was the point. Nobody got the right answer. That means nobody Googled. I just keep hoping that the second answer is an easy one. Okay. And you win a book. All right. Okay. That was some fun. And now I think Mark sir has already given the introduction of Dhruva. So Swapnil, over to you. Can we have the book launch? Blues. Please. Let the blues get launched today.
Okay. So everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes.
And in the interest of time, I've already filled in all the details. This is available on the storymitra.com. And only few links are available because we're launching it today. So hopefully in next 24 hours, we'll have the links as well. So before I publish it, Markandeyulu, can you go ahead and publish it because it's a virtual launch, right? So we don't have.
Okay, sir. Yes, sir. Please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Great.
Book launching.
So it is getting published, and it is published now.
Yay! Your first book. How are you feeling? Now you can call yourself an author. An author, right?
This is the link.
Here comes the cover.
Yeah.
All the other links. So you can read all the books. If you want to read before buying, you can do so. There are a couple of chapters added here for you to read. We have Eka Publishers, our own website where it's already up and running. The price here is 199 rupees. Okay, and this includes shipping charges. Okay, so if you so for next 48 hours, we won't be charging any shipping charges. So this.
Guys, go ahead, buy it.
Yeah, and you can even read audio file on our app. Yeah, in case you want to read. So in case you want to hear the audio file, you can actually do that. So just bookmark this link. Other links will be available in due course, maybe next 24 hours. I'm hoping so it will be available from all the other partners, Amazon, Flipkart.
Can you share that link here? Like the one you said
Yeah.
not to bookmark?
Yes.
Share it
In the chat box, please.
Put it in the chat box. Yeah.
So that, yeah, okay. So there's a limited offer, guys. So go ahead and buy it. So yeah, so I was asking Dhruva, so how are you feeling now?
I just can't.
Yeah, but I think I should ask that question to parents. So sir, so ma'am and sir, how are you feeling? Your son is now an author. How's it? So, what do you think?
Very happy.
Very good, very good, very good.
Okay.
Congratulations, Mr. Dhruva.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
We are happy.
We are very happy.
Congrats, Dhruva.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
So, Dhruva, so how did views happen? So why did you think to write this book as your first story?
Yeah, so what happened is in 2014, when I was doing my bachelor's, my friend actually told about his love story. So he just narrated me his story. So about the accident. So everything has happened actually. The accident and everything. Lot of
It's a real story, almost a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story. So I liked it, and I told whether I could, write based on his story, and he said yes. And a lot of sequences I have taken from his life only. So, and I've written the first draft actually got completed in 6 months. So I was able to finish it, but at that time it was only a love story. I didn't concentrate much on mental health. So then I left the story for about 2 to 3 years. Then after that, I thought it had more potential to explore. I only I didn't mention the effects after what would happen to the person. So I want to explore that psychological of the person. That so in that way, after around 2018, I started again doing doing research on depression and why suicides happen. So these kind of articles I started reading, and then the draft kept changing. Yeah.
So you're saying it's almost like 2 or 3 years that you took to complete this book?
Yeah.
Is it what I heard you saying?
Yeah.
So your friend was okay for like having this story because some people might not like it, right?
Yeah, he told me like it's okay, but don't show me. He told, because for him it was a nightmare, right? So he said like, yeah, I can't read it. Can write it, but he said that I can't read. So he gave me the permission.
A very complex subject. Love story, yeah. I mean, like it's kind of there everywhere. You see love stories, many love stories. But mental health is something that is like very difficult. I mean, some people even don't understand what is mental health.
True.
And for them, it's very difficult to make understand actually, like how depression kind of seeps in and kills you. I think, I mean, I have not like educated completely, but did a book on book. Yes, so got the depression concept very well in the book. And while I was actually when I was reading it for the first time, and I was like going through the protagonist, right? What he's feeling, it really felt very real. I don't know how many of the people here have actually suffered depression. It's only when you have suffered it, you can relate to it. You'll know exactly, like, what Dhruva is telling in the book is this is what actually happens, right? So, you know, so, so tell me about the protagonist of the book, right? So so how do you relate it to him? So it's not you, it's not your imaginary character, right? It's a character that is, I mean, it's your friend's story. So basically, there's a character who is already out there, and you
Yeah.
cannot use your imagination because you are writing a realistic story. So how difficult was that? Or challenging it was? Or
No, it was not that much challenging because it was already a known story. So he actually provided me with a lot of details. So actually, one of the reason why I connected with his story was that there are little bit similarities. So I also was a little bit of shy. I used to be a little bit shy, and I had a little bit of social anxiety. So that's why I got connected with it. So with this story. So generally, coming to the hero of this story, he suffers from, generally you could say, like anxiety disorder, like OCD, something like that. So he always fears like something bad could happen. So even the situation might seem normal to a other person, but he feels like something bad is going to happen all the time. So that's his mindset. He tries to come out of that loop, but unfortunately, he again goes back into that loop, and that just keeps going on. So uh, that's the hero's character.
so here we'll take a break from Dhruva and I'll read a passage that I've selected from the book. So the passage I'm considering reading is almost the start of the book. And readers, friends, little people, please do pay attention what I'm reading. I'll explain in the end what I wanted to say. But do pay attention because it's a subtle way of giving out what that person's mind is going through. And when that somebody is not in the right frame of mind, how everything becomes really irritating and annoying. Right? So let's have the passage now. It was 10 a.m. and I was beginning to wonder what I was doing for the past half an hour. In a Skoda car that was hardly moving. The car moved forward a bit and then stopped. This session of driving and then stopping continued. The person on my left came on a bike and collided with the scooty in front of him. The guy on the scooty abused him, and even though I could not hear what he said, I could figure out some of the words by his lip movement. And they were words I had used myself when I was angry. Those weren't pleasant words, but I bet every human being has used those words, or at least words of a similar kind, at some point in their lives. The abuser then turned his head forward and kept waiting for the vehicles to move. Another guy on a bike on my right tried to sneak between our car and the Santa addressing us and was successful. For a moment I wished I could travel back. I could squeeze through those tiny gaps in the traffic. But riding a motorcycle has its discipline. Riders have to endure a lot of smoke from the vehicle's exhaust and the blaring noise from all the heat. And, lost in my world, I thought, what about a car with airplane-like wings flying in the air? Wow! But then there will be more traffic jams in the air, and accidents will be worse in the sky. Not to speak about the crowds spoiling our cars. My mind was back in the car and staring with me at the vehicles outside. It was irritating to be stuck in a traffic jam. It was getting on my nerves. It was the only thing I hated about it. We finally reached the place where we wanted to be. Our office at Hayat Legal, which at present was just cement and bricks. I was sitting on a red cushioned chair beside my father. My father placed charts on the table filled with images of different views and layouts of the world. I was looking outside the window. Branches of the plants were moving in the wind. The leaves brushed against the glass window. Wind pushed them across the window pane. And then, when there was no wind, the leaves would cling to the window for a while before moving. Then they were once more pushed against across the window, and on the cycle continued. I kept gazing at it for a while. Then, in the background, my uncle was saying something. I don't know what it was. And I observed something else. The sunlight would brighten for a while, then dim, and then light again. It looked as if the sun was pissed for a minute and then calmed down for a while. Then it got pissed again. That was a passage from Blues about the protagonist starting from the Hyderabad traffic and ending where it feels that the sun was pissed. But it was not the sun, it was the protagonist who was going for it. I thought it was a very excellent way of writing, starting with some Hyderabad traffic, saying that a person is normal, and then just trying. I mean, there's more to it, but I want you. You should go buy the book and read it. So, that was views from Dhruva. Before we move forward, I would like to open the open this or open this evening to audience questions for Dhruva. So, anyone has any question for Dhruva? Come on. I took so much effort in reading the passage also. Come on, someone of you should. I know ask the question too. I don't pass.
Lavanya, I have a question.
Yes, ma'am. So
Dhruva,
Surya ma'am is our senior HydRAW member. Right. And she's younger than more half of the forum we have today. Very energetic. Always makes a point to let you know all the events. Yeah, Surya ma'am, go ahead. So Dhruva, you can ask him.
Yeah. Dhruva, you think that kind of depression nowadays is because they are given too much freedom and all nuclear families. When they were joint families, children used to come home, there used to be some grandmother or somebody who used to be friendly with the children and they would give them support and all. Now all the parents, both parents are working and leave the children to a maid or somebody and they don't have enough time to express their feelings. That's why they are going into depression. What do you say about that?
Well, actually, that could be a reason for depression because whenever a person is depressed, a lot of
One second,
psychological.
Dhruva, we can't hear you. Surya ma'am, now that you have asked your question, can you please go on mute? Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Dhruva.
So generally, what happens is when a person is depressed, people say like you have to be around people. You know that actually helps a lot. So being around people helps a lot, but still there is certain uh, things, traits in a person that we can't change no matter what. So he might be in joint family, but he can still feel alone. So that is a little bit complex. So we can't say like that man because it's a little bit complex issue. Yeah. So
Then he has to consult a psychiatrist.
yeah.
And people have some phobia. They think going to a psychiatrist is something which they don't want to, and people don't come out with their real problems, and that increases the depression. That's my experience. Because when my husband passed away, I was into so much depression. I would never sleep. I would keep crying. For 1 year, I was in depression. Then I realized, why should I suffer? I will go to a psychiatrist. I went to him. In 6 months, I was all right. And I think people, whenever they have some depression or something, that phobia should be gone, and they should go and consult a psychiatrist to keep their other part of life happy and healthy.
Yes, ma'am, I completely agree. They have to. The stigma has to go.
I just want to add a point here. Can I?
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes, please. Jitendra,
Yeah, actually,
small introduction about yourself. Short introduction.
it's a. I would. Namaste, ma'am. My suggestion is not going to psychiatrist. You just need a counselor. Psychiatrist is a big thing. Counselor. But they should be
Counselor.
open-minded to. They should be open-minded to approach them. That's it.
To approach them. Open-minded to approach them. I fully agree with you, Jitendra.
Okay. Thank you, Surya ma'am. Thank you, Jitendra. So Pragnya, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I'm going to pull you up now. So, what do you feel? How do you feel about your brother's book?
I'm extremely proud. I mean, so it's like my brother is basically underplaying it as well, usually does. Okay. But he's basically okay. So most of you might have seen Tamasha. Okay, so there's this kid in the movie. He's like Chali Kahani करके background music will be there, right? So that's how his mind goes. Like there's stories and stories everywhere. Like I'm the victim of it. He comes to me every other day, tells me some story, completely different. Okay, I would like to see something that on that side also. I'm looking forward to more of those stories also. So he is really passionate about stories. So I think when I say really passionate, it's a very small word because really thinks about it much. And I think the reason why the blues came up, Lavanya, what you asked also, like how could you relate to that character? How could you write it? Because he empathizes. He's mostly a quiet guy. So, but he can empathize with a person. He understands it, and I mean, I'm the one who like literally, I don't know, like, uh, I think that I
Or
understand
guinea
people and
pig,
stuff like that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he
or
is not.
somebody's
So
come to you first before it comes on paper.
yeah. So but it's like this. So he empathizes with the character a lot. He tries to understand it. So and he's very critical. So if you know, one of the most important thing of a writer is that you have to be very critical of yourself and try to self-reflect on what can be and what cannot be. And this understanding of human emotions and what do you say, the his perseverance to sorry if pronounce it wrong, but perseverance to what do you say, self reflect and adapt it to whatever level it was. I'm amazed with how many edits he has done, how much improvement he has taken to this, and I'm really thankful to Saurav, Lavanya, what do you say? I'm sorry, Mehboob, and everyone for supporting him and giving him all the inputs that were required. So yeah, I mean, I'm extremely happy that he's here. I mean, I'm the shielding of the creative spirit. So yeah.
Thank you so much. We didn't do that much. Yeah, we did lay out our observations out there, but yeah, whoa, very patient. You underplay sometimes. I agree with you. I'm also a shy guy. Totally.
So Pragna, you are Dhruva's younger sister, right?
Yeah.
So normally I'm a very talkative guy, and when my younger sister comes and meets me, I become the quiet guy like Dhruva. Younger sisters are like that. So being talkative or shy is relative, is not absolute, right? So in front of you, you are talkative and he's quiet, but in our monthly meetups, he describes books very well. From Godfather by Mario Puzo, If You Were on a Winter Night by Italo Calvino, he's silent. No way. He's silent in front of you because you are the younger sister, the more talkative one. And this happened with me. The normally talkative guy, when my younger sister comes, I'm 50 years old now, and it keeps happening. वो आती है तो मेरे को I can't say she's like you chirpy, okay.
Maybe that can happen. I'm the pittar pittar.
Oh. So, so why don't Dhruva read a small passage, the one that
Yeah.
your favorite?
Before that, I have a question
Okay,
for
go ahead,
Dhruv.
Shirley. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dhruv, when Lavanya Mama, she has just, read few lines from the beginning. So the question that comes into my mind, is this the way that your friend has described you the situation, or is there any kind of imagination that you have added into it?
No,
Because
yeah,
because the way you have described, it is not, I should say, sympathetic, it's very empathetic approach. So this empathy, uh, is this a result of your friendship, or is this something that you have added with your creativity and all?
It's a secret. Boy.
Secret.
I just tried to. Actually, that scene was written at the end. Actually, so I thought I wanted to get into his frame of mind. So sometimes that character freezes, the mind freezes. So I want to create that frame of mind. And there are actually certain books also which actually helped. Yeah, so in creating that kind of movie. So books helped me. I read some books related to mental health.
You have started really well that I got into it. I will definitely buy it and will read it. And I'm huge fan of love stories. So I will definitely read it. So I'm gonna read it.
Thank you so much.
It's a great work, Dhruv. Thank you for writing such beautiful stories.
Yeah, thank you.
So we'll get into the passage now.
Yeah, so just want to read a funny conversation between Sneha and Rahul. So Sneha asks, every guy in the college is scared to even talk to me. Is it me? Do I scare people? Rahul says no. I want to tell you the truth. She looks at him. She looked at me and tilted her head. Then Rahul says, let's say you have your own style of talking. Some perceive it as arrogance, but someone who knows you well will perceive you as a sensitive and sweet person. It depends on people. Then I could see the disappointment on her face. Come on, I mean, everybody is flawed. We lecture each other about being perfect, but trust me, no one can be like that. Everyone falls under grey. Then she asks, grey, what do you mean? See, I categorize all people as grey except serial killers. So you are saying I'm under the same category as terrorists? She waved. No, no. You and I fall under light grey. They fall under dark grey. She smirked and nodded. Subcategory, not bad. Then he says, thank you. So you don't need to worry about it. You are fine the way you are. Then she says, you managed to tell me you are not a good person, and yet I feel good. She smiled. Thank you, Rahul. That's the conversation. Yeah.
All right, great, nice. So, any more questions from the audience? I'll pull in George here. Just that since the mental health is coming up, and just so George would like to know what's your thoughts about the mental health. How is it in US? What do you think mental health, is deteriorating worldwide? I'll leave this question again in your session later when we talk about tomorrow learning topics. But for now, just want to know in general what your thoughts are.
About mental health?
Yes.
You mean just in general, or with regards to depression, or?
Yeah, just in general, also as well, maybe, or in regards to the question, or like, however you want. Okay. So most of the discussion was like how the mental health is affecting now, and it's growing now. It's like a lot of people are facing this mental health and all that. And I think you are a martial art instructor as well, right? So yeah, so I don't know, some of your students coming up to you at an younger age, or teenagers, or other people. So what advice do you give them?
Well, if you're looking at depression especially, you have an issue of biochemistry for the brain. If the biochemistry of the individual is off, they more than likely need to go on to medication. But that's in severe symptomology. If you're looking about general mental health, you need to have a solid foundation of support and maintenance practices. So that can range from simple elements of exercise, diet, having proper stress releases, in general, taking care of yourself. So we provide that. If you provide that as a foundation in your life, it gives you more to fall back on, so that you're capable of tolerating the ups and downs of living. If I've in general found that if a person's imbalance is great enough, then it's oftentimes a biochemical issue. There's the brain simply lacks the neurotransmitters it needs. The person is not going to be able to adjust it with introduction of new behaviors or providing a proper support base for themselves. But most people will improve their lives tremendously by putting a nice base of support into their lives.
Thank you. All right, I think we talked so much of mental health, depression, and all that stuff. I think time for fun. So, are you all ready for the next question? Ready?
And I'm waiting for the next answer for that because I won't know the answer.
All right, then we'll have some knowledge tidbits also today. That's good enough. Now, this is something one of you, someone should answer.
Isn't Swapnil sharing the screen?
Yeah, Swapnil, are you there? Sorry.
Swapnil, why don't you share the screen?
No, first I'll tell the question, then you'll share which question.
All right, okay.
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting for her to.
Yeah. Right. So this is not Indian literature, and this is a famous play of Shakespeare. Okay. And let's see how many people. Okay, again, warning, no googling, please stay honest. Okay. The question: in Julius Caesar, Brutus, who has betrayed Caesar, says, "The ghost of Caesar had appeared to me several times by night, at Sardis once, and this last night. Here in which fields?" That's a question. I think so, please. So people have done literature, maybe, or not, who are literary fans. Should know this question. I mean, I also didn't know it. Okay. Honest. So, anyone wants to? Okay, yeah. Here are the options. Yeah, go ahead. So please. Alicia, Philippine, Francine, Pontus. No googling, please.
I'm just guessing.
It is Pontus, I think.
Okay, what's your guess? Drew? No, it's just a guess. Take anything.
Yes.
Alicia.
Okay, Alicia, Pontus.
There is no none of the above.
Okay. One of it is the answer. But okay, whatever Shavlin or
Dhruva.
Could be right also. We don't know.
So Pontus is taken. Alicia is taken.
Anybody wants to try it? Oh, no, just don't do like that. Let's see which one.
Julius Caesar, Brutus, who has betrayed Caesar, says the ghost of Caesar had appeared. Pontus.
Okay. Anyone else? George, want to try? You want to take a guess? Maybe you're not allowed. I know Shakespeare is your favorite author, so you will definitely know the answer. So don't even try. George, do you want to take a guess?
I would go with Alicia.
Alicia. Okay, so 2 votes for Alicia and 1 for Pontus. I am sorry, all of you are wrong. It is Philippine. Am I right, Swapnil? Okay. Swapnil. All right, but the answer is...
Swapnil is going for the answer.
Nowadays, you're right. It's just that it's difficult to switch from mic to the presentation.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
Yes, you're right.
So I think at this point, this is a reality check for every one of us. No matter what we say, like we know so much of literature, we have read so many books. There's always new to learn. There's something very inspiring to read always, and maybe we. So never ever give away reading and writing. If you're not a writer, make sure that you're a reader. Right. So that's great. All right. Okay. No one has earned a hamper. What is this? I mean, two questions. I thought all five will go. But all right, you guys have three more chances. Let's see who wins at the end of the meeting. And I think that was the lovely session with Dhruva. So before we close on this session on this review, so what has been, Dhruva, what will be your advice to the upcoming writers? Like, since you're also a newbie writer, right? What were the difficulties that you had faced, and how, especially in India, like, how do you want to, like, give a message to the new writers, like how they should try, what they should do?
Message at present, I don't think because it's my first book. So what I can say is the struggles of writer is that uh, starting a story is very easy, like starting and writing 30 pages. But after that, like क्या है? It's like going in a road highway में बीच से यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है? What is happening? It is that kind of scenario. So that is the biggest challenge. So till middle we can somehow manage, but after that, that's what actually happened for this also. That's the reason it blues took long, because I was able to uh, write half of it, but the other half, or the last 50 to 60, this was the last one third, you can say, was toughest to write.
Right. Big round of applause for Dhruva. I wish you all the best.
Sorry.
And I think it's so all of you, please. Swapnil has already announced for today the rates today and tomorrow. I think the rates are just 199 rupees. Go ahead, right, and you get a physical copy of the book in just 199 rupees. It's an amount that you spend for a coffee, Starbucks coffee, or a starter if you go to a restaurant. So food is always there, it will always be there, but literature is not enriching as food. Believe me that when I say that. So go ahead, buy the book, support new authors. And since this book is about mental health and love story, I hope that all of you will enjoy it. Okay, that's it. So great. Thank you so much, Dhruva.
And any of his family friends want to say some words before we switch over to Steenrod's book? Anybody?
Yeah, I just want.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, Jitendra.
Actually, Dhruva and me
Jitendra,
had a small conversation.
Jitendra, your introduction, please. I think Lavanya had asked, but you didn't.
I'm Jitendra. I'm Dhruva's friend, actually, family friends. So we happened to discuss about the book once when we met. I think it was more than a couple of years ago, I guess.
So
he already told me that he's working on this project something.
So after that, what you discussed with him, that gives the idea of his next book.
Actually, I couldn't get much time, and Dhruva is a very busy person. To catch Dhruva, it's like he's sometimes available on call, or sometimes he's busy.
So one thing is there: if he wants to write a book, he'll come and you discuss something. He'll go and write a book.
Yeah. Actually, one of my story is already published in a book.
Wow. Okay. Very nice. So okay. Anybody else from Dhruva's friends, family, cousin, colleagues? Say something about the occasion book.
Congrats, Dhruva and Sudarshan uncle, Padma aunty.
Thank you very much. Actually, about mental health, I suggest that all the parents support the children. They will get rid of that.
One second. I can't see your face now. Yeah.
Actually, I want to tell about that mental health.
That's
that
the
all
daughter.
parents support the children. That their kids are their children. then it get rid of that problem. I thought that
No,
it's about the other parents.
And
Then
in society,
they come
everything is
out
like that.
if they are suffering something, they will come out
Yes.
easily.
Well said, ma'am. Yes.
Always, whatever it is, then they explain. They also open.
So, ma'am, how do you feel about today, your son's first book?
I'm very happy. Really, I'm happy. Actually, I'm unable to talk anything about that. Actually, full of happy. So I'm not getting any words.
At
Thank
least,
you very much, all
at,
are
at
supporting.
least you are able to speak some words. Dad is not able to speak those words also.
He's also
That
very.
is quite, that is shy.
Yeah, Dhruva, as I know, Dhruva has got a lot of depth of emotions, and the way he has described various states of anxiety and tension in his book. No, it's excellent description, and no, it's a very good work, and and really proud of my son Dhruva, and lastly, I would thank HydRAW members and Mahbub and Saurabh and Lavanya and our today's chief guest Markandeyulu for supporting Dhruva in his work. And I thank you one and all on behalf of Dhruva and all my family members and my friends. And I thank you one and all for supporting him. Thank you.
ఇప్పుడు చెప్పనా? Hello, Dhruva. Congratulations
Yeah, thank you so much.
from Nalgonda, Shishkala auntie.
Thank you, auntie. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I like thank everybody. Yeah, my sisters have come. Yeah, my sisters have come. My brothers has come.
Like Abhi said, all family is here.
Yeah. I'm really proud. Yeah, they're supporting me.
That is the most required one for everything.
Right.
Lavanya, I just wanted to add one thing to your point, which you earlier made. That is, the feeling and the depression thing. It's all like, depression and all. Everyone will have a low and high tides, like, sea. No one is stable, and even though you meditate, you do anything, you don't. But reading this book and getting connected to it, it's like, once you start reading it, you'll start feeling it, and maybe you can link it somewhere. It's not like, you can link from point A to point Z, but somewhere.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
And one last point to Dhruva's parents, just briefly. So, did you think that he'll become a published author when he was growing up?
Yeah, definitely he will come up in his line of thing.
No, no. When he was younger, did you think he'll become an author? ఒక రచయిత అవుతాడు
No, we
అనుకున్నారా
never
మీరు?
thought.
No.
No, we never thought.
మ్మ్.
We never thought.
I thought it.
నాన్న అనుకోలేదు, అమ్మ అనుకుంది, అమ్మ అనుకున్నదే అవుతుంది.
I know that.
You're right. You're right. Always. Mother's instinct or mother's gut always
He's
comes.
my son. Always I introduce Dhruva as my son. Now I am saying that I am Dhruva's mom.
Wow.
That's so like that.
I am mother of Dhruva, author of blues.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bless.
Dhruva,
Blessed.
Thank
Stay
you.
blessed,
Thank
Dhruva,
you.
and proud and auspicious day for you. Maybe the beginning of a long journey of books and literature, reading and writing. To you and your family.
Thank you for your support also. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Martini, sir. Thank you,
Martini,
Lavanya.
sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Dhruva,
Yes, I request all of you. It's nice
Dhruva.
to have your support for Dhruva, but do please stay because we are also having another discussion. Steenrod is coming up, so I would like all of you to stay and also support our brother from USA in his book. Right. So there's a lot of disturbance. Yeah. Yeah. If you're not talking, please go on mute so that. All
Dhruva.
right.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Dhruva.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
Karuna.
Yeah, my sister, she's my elder sister.
I'm proud of you. I didn't expect from you. So happy.
Yeah,
I can't speak.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so proud of you, Dhruva.
Yeah,
Okay,
thank you.
Congratulations.
Thanks, Anna, thanks.
Okay.
I'm Karuna from Ramagundam. I'm Dhruva's sister.
Thank you, Ra. Thank you.
Dhruva's
Okay,
sister.
Karina. It's nice of you, but we're closing the session. I'm sorry. Now we'll not be taking any more.
Okay,
So
thank you.
whoever has still wants to give congratulations, please put on the chat. All right. So that way we can make our time economical here and wrap it up the time. All right. Coming up now, this was views. Sophie, yes, can we have the poster for tomorrow, love and travel? Right. So this is our next book. This has already been launched in USA, but today we are doing more like of a reading and asking questions to the author, Mr. George Steenrod. This is also a love story, but this is a very futuristic love story. While we talk about depression and mental health, there is a different type of mental health in this book as well. And I'm sure, Dhruva, when we come to talk to that, you will also relate to that. And then you will say, okay, let me also read this book, which is really a futuristic book, and see how I can connect with my empathy of mental health or depression to tomorrow London Times. As the title suggests, tomorrow it's a futuristic story, is it? Somewhere, I don't know, probably 80 years or 100 years down the line. And before we open the stage for questions and start bombarding George with all the sci-fi questions and technical details about the book, I would want to set a backdrop for this book. And so I will start this event by reading a passage from the book so that all of you will have a little bit idea of what the book is about, how the narration is, and what we can expect. Though Mark, sir, in the start of the session, he has already explained the story, what the book is about, and in which age it is set, also protagonist's name he had given at that time. So here comes the passage from the book. Come on, watch the graph scroll across his screen. He had extensive holdings in the futures market in both water and atmosphere. His position, which anticipated a high demand, was proving to be very profitable. A large filtration plant had gone offline for 23 hours 2 weeks ago. The market was driving water high. He leaned back in his vintage leather chair and looked out across the city space displayed on the screens. He made a handsome living managing talent. Well, though needed to be working on making its own return. Otherwise, it was wasted time, it was wasted money. The port was visible from his office. He was waiting for an arrival. The timer on his screen counted down. 8:49 seconds. He peered into the distance. A small dot emerged on the horizon. It grew quickly. A halo of flames became visible around the black dot. A long rhomboid shape replaced the dot, mounted beneath the lift vehicle. The vehicle maneuvered itself wasp-like over the landing pad in the port. The whole assembly touched down. 30 seconds earlier than expected. Large hydraulic screws attached to the rails on the bottom of the lift vehicle activated. In unison, 20 of them spun out of their holes, releasing the engine. With a pulsed bun of its thrusters, the ship lifted back into the atmosphere and headed towards the next bit of cargo waiting for it in orbit. 5,000 souls ready for the red lady. Kumar said to the room. Kumar had been born on Earth and had moved with his father and his two wives to Mars at the age of 8. He had arrived in a much smaller transport vehicle that had 250 people. The large transport, in fact, was essentially the same transport replicated sequentially for the greater number. They were boring but safe. The transports were reinforced against kinetic impact and radiation. The living quarters were sparse, but each was compartmentalized and to survive catastrophic failure elsewhere in the transport. He knew that at that moment, robots were making their way out into the platform. They would open the cargo compartment and begin hauling luggage to the base station. The skin of the rhomboid exposed to space, descent, and rocket wash needed a few moments to normalize. Then they would walk away. So guys, now you understood what we are talking about. We are talking about a futuristic state, a love story happening nowhere else but Mars. And look at the details, the technical details, the ship landing, what shape it was, how did the wasp-like thing fit back. And the whole, I have just read about 10 chapters till now. The entire story is about those details, technical details. What I felt was when I was reading the story, most of the sci-fi, I don't know, ones that we read, explain a lot of things, but not to this detail. This was through and through technical in a lot of terms. I actually felt that I was in some futuristic state, and everything was explained. The kinetic thirst, and there was one somewhere in one of the chapters, George was talking about a space pirate. How interesting was that? A space pirate who smuggles these minerals from other space and all this stuff. So this is what you can expect from the book. It's a love story. It's a sci-fi love story, yes, futuristic love story. But then you have details to the T where you probably would not have thought about it, like how in future such things would be possible. But George explains it so effortlessly and seamlessly that you just keep on turning the pages to read more of it. But I would also advise the readers to go slow because so much detail in this book, it's very difficult to kind of comprehend everything at one go. So take it slow, read it slow, and it's beautiful. So, George, we come to you now. I hope I have done justice to the fascinating reading, but even before we start the session, tell me how this thing happened, like how the entire story came up into your mind, and how did you go about it? So, how it started, how it ended, and details to the team, please.
Well, first, let me thank you for your reading because I think you did it a lot better than I would, and you have a flair for that. If in general, the story started when I do my reading. I'll actually read the chunk that came to me. It actually started as a dream. There was a repeated scene. I dreamt perhaps 3 or 4 times of a river with a small gravel island in the middle and an old mill behind it. And what I do most of my writing in my head when I'm walking. And I walk to and from my martial arts school. It's about 3.5 miles each way. And so most weeks I walk an average of about 30 to 35 miles. During that time, I'll have a scene or a line that gets caught in my head, and I gradually build it out from there. And so sometimes that line or the scene is almost overwhelming, and it doesn't get released from my head until I write it. And so I would say in 2017, I began to assemble the book. So as I'd write, I'd work out details of what was going on, how it would work, what the character interactions were like, what the essential story was, other things like that. And then in 2018, I started actually writing it and finished in 2019 with that component. In general, I build the world first, and then I follow the characters around and document what they're doing, essentially. So.
Thomas? Okay, that's great. So tell us about the protagonist of your book, Cassie. And
Cassie? Cassie is in her early 20s. She lost her mother when she was in her late teens, I think 16 or 17. And that affected her a great deal. And what happens is that she completely immerses herself. She was already introverted, and she immersed herself in design and development of these things called scenes, and so which are basically immersive worlds that people can enter into. She continues to do that for until her 20s. Then she slowly starts to realize that her life isn't very fulfilling. She's made a great deal of money, but the reality is that she doesn't like her life. She doesn't understand why she doesn't like her life. She finds parts of it to be hollow, and as she starts to examine it, very slowly she realizes she doesn't have much human contact. She has been building relationships, but they essentially lack the underlying emotional basis that she desires as a human being within this world. So she has a distancing that she doesn't really understand. As she explores that, she comes to realize it's actually her mother. In her past, she has her mother's disappearance to deal with. And in her present, she has her relationships that she's been working with. And so essentially, she sets out to journey into her past in a lot of ways to relieve the pain and discomfort she's feeling in the present. So.
Okay. Okay. So
I want to speak something.
Yes.
The story is very good, but the price is fish rupees 49 only. Why so less?
Oh no. We were running a promotion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's for a promotion. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that more and more people
Sir Markandeyulu, it's only the event price. It won't stay like that for more time.
Okay.
So yeah, I was about to. Sorry, I just got a little bit frozen in between. I was about to announce in some of in some time. So there's a promotion price. It's only 49 on Kindle. Okay, this book is available only on Kindle in India, and it's just 49.
Okay.
Right. So go ahead. I've read the passage already. I know it's interesting, and it will be more interesting once we start asking George more questions about it. Go ahead and grab it, and this prize will only be there for 2 or 3 days. But George, most of the people like to read a physical copy of the book. They're more comfortable with the physical copy of the book rather than reading it on Kindle or on a laptop. So really request you to kind of explore the possibilities of having a physical book in India. I'm sure many of them would love to buy a physical copy and read it. Swapna is here, we are here, we're always here to help in getting the physical copy in India. Definitely. So do please think about it.
I will. Yeah.
Thank you so much. All right. So we were talking about Casey, and we were talking about a futuristic society. But what I wanted to ask George is, why sci-fi? And why only sci-fi? So what is it that there is a connection between you and the sci-fi?
Well, from sci-fi, we gain an image of what we want to become in the future. And it's not all sci-fi does that, of course, but if you look at older sci-fi, for example, with Asimov or Bradbury or such, the authors are addressing, or Clark, especially in the sci-fi movement known as futurism, what's happening is that they create an image of the world, which is one of the possibilities for what the future will hold. And so for technical people or people that have an interest in sciences, sci-fi in many ways guides them into adulthood. And so many of the things that they see or hear or experience helps to shape what they will do in their research as adults. But it also helps to give us an image of what we want for our own future. So it's our way of dreaming the future. The difficulty I think we have now is that we don't, at least within the US, we don't have a consistent image or any image of what we want for the future. We react to pain from the past and we react to our conditions, but we don't have a direction we want to go to. We have something we want to move away from, but not where we want to head. And sci-fi paints pictures of the future, of what we want to become as humans, what we want to become as a culture or as a world. As we enter more into the era of space and pervasive social media, we have the possibility of the future, but no particular direction or thought of where that's going to go. So that's why I work in sci-fi.
Right. So you said one of your, like I was watching the interview clip, the YouTube interview clip. We have shared part of it on our HydRAW book as well. We'll share the entire clip later after this session. We didn't share it before because we wanted people to know you, and then share the clip so that it becomes easy for them to connect with what you're saying and what is there in the video. So one of the things was in the interview was, do you think sci-fi is obsessed with technology and lost its moorings of social transformation? And that's what you said basically. It's kind of it's lost. There's nothing about social transformation, but mostly it's obsessed with the technology. So I have a follow-up question on that. What do you think? How can sci-fi writers bring back the social responsibility themes in their work?
Huh?
Do you think climate change is a good area for them, or what other areas they can work or try to portray in their works?
I think staying purely with technology is easy when it comes to sci-fi. There's an easier market for it. Movies are more easily built around that. And I have a cat who wants to also contribute. And
Yes, you're a cat. You want to say hi? What was that? Yeah.
I'm sure she'll pop back over. And but it's an easy market. It's easy to tell that story because it's being told right now. And when it comes to market, realistically, it's your best and easiest marketing is always to write something that's already selling and slightly adjust the thing that you're doing, and people consume that very easily. We see that in the U.S., for example, in movies and Hollywood and such, that they don't want too radical of a jump. They want a small jump from left to right. The issue with that is such approaches don't really have any longevity to them. So you don't, you gain a lot more by being a disruptor, somebody that makes a larger innovation. However, that type of work is always more difficult to sell because it's harder to classify. It's harder to have a defined market. And I didn't particularly set out to be a disruptor. I set out to tell a story, but at the same time that ended up placing me as bending the edges of a genre and creating certain issues in that area and making marketing much more difficult. For a new author looking at doing that, they essentially have to choose what type of story they want to tell, because it's not, what I'm doing is not new. In fact, what I'm doing is how sci-fi started. And with futurism, which is a movement of sci-fi that essentially draws pictures of the future, you have, for example, Arthur C. Clarke, who's an outstanding example of that, with, let's say, 2001 Space Odyssey. And he spends a lot of time talking about technology, but also human transformation. He did that because he wanted to achieve a similar goal, I think, to what I did, which is to create a possibility or an image of the future to explore mentally, to examine and go from that. However, it does require more work, and you need to do a lot more backstory work. I spent a year building backstory before I actually sat down and wrote key scenes, and then gradually built a more coherent narration across the entire thing. So, you have to choose how much time you want to put in, and you get out what you put in. So.
Yeah, that's true. Like many of the authors have more technology driven and all that. But one author that I want to bring it here is the book is Neuromancer by William Gibson, one that won a lot of accolades. And I was not aware of this book, and when I started reading it, it was actually very difficult to complete the book. It's all technical. It was written somewhere in 1994, and it's a cyberpunk genre. William Gibson, for the first time in 1984, when people didn't know the internet is going to take away the world, talked about a global conscious school, which, in his language, was the internet. And today, after so many years, we see that internet has totally dominated, all the AI, everything, right? So, I think in a way, sci-fi story writers, like you said, they want to kind of imagine what world is going to be in the future, write about, actually can come true. So, what do you think about that? Like, do you think your story about Casey, about space travel, and the artistic things that she does with architecture and interior designs and all this stuff, will that be one day as normal as we think we are?
I think there is a drop from Lavanya's side. Maybe George, you can go ahead. I think you got the gist of the question that science fiction eventually turns into reality. So, what do you reckon? How much of the science fiction in your book will become reality?
I would say that essentially the driving piece of technology within the book is is the encounter room and the screens. If we sit back and we look at social media right now, social media is not very old. We're probably at a very primitive stage of what social media is, and as processing power increases and as technology for example, screens. I have this set up. I've got a 2-screen setup myself and such. As that gets cheaper, we'll see social media become more immersive when it comes to the senses, and that's really the technical component behind the book. And there are other technical components in there, but that's the big driving factor behind it. If we look at that, I think that's actually highly likely, because all you really have to do is have a tremendous increase in computer power, which we're seeing scaling right now a great deal. And we would also have to see things like computer screens become much larger, much cheaper, flexible, stuff like that. And that's entirely doable too. So what we have to ask is, what is the social component or the social impact of that going to be, and how is that going to change society? Because who would have thought something, if you look at what social media is right now, what's it essentially? It's a website where you can put up a picture and chat with one another, what we're doing right now. Why would that have transformed anything? But it did. It transformed it a great deal. and it's continuing to have a transformative effect. And if you look at new media as it pops up, what do we get from that with new media? We essentially get more screens, more people chatting more easily, and the ability to share more of our interactions. So now we have video, which is very easy to do, and that can be produced at a high quality. All the things which 20 years ago would have been almost impossible. But all of that had a tremendous social impact. In the book, we essentially have Mars and Earth. So Mars has been colonized. And what happens with Mars is that it serves in many ways as a model for Earth. If you look at the exploration of space, it's essentially explored by people that are highly educated, very fit, and are usually drawn from, for lack of a better term, kind of the cream of the crop of humanity. They go through tremendous amounts of testing, stress preparation, other things like that. And those will be the people that settle Mars, with the exception coming as if there's labor that's needed, which I don't believe will be the case. You'll have people that have wider backgrounds. I believe that robotics will actually cover that distance, as we have basic robotics now that are capable of most physical labors that are simply, it's simply too expensive. And so in the book, Mars eventually becomes a counterpoint to Earth, where people sit back and they see society, human society, effectively restarting there without the burden of the past that we face now. And so with one of the things that's dealt with is essentially this idea that the reason that things don't change on Earth is we have kind of a belief that things can't change on Earth. We sit back and go, things need to, or things, we can achieve these things because people won't allow it, because the rate of change has never been there. But when we have Mars, where people have basically said, we're not going to do any of that, we don't have the burdens of the past, so we're just going to start again. People on Earth start to sit back and go, well, why can't we do that? Why can't we simply change things? And so psychologically, we get a reference point from the settlement of Mars on Earth, where people are sitting back going, well, we could, in fact, change these things because they did. Why can't we do that? And so that creates one of the driving conflicts or motivations within the book.
I think other people are waiting to ask a question. Shavli and maybe Mark sir. I have a question. Thinking what you said, that there will be this cyclical influence of life on Mars versus life on Earth. But even before we go there, there is a divergence of opinion of the path for humanity. One thing is the Elon Musk way. We should venture out, go out onto space, explore. That is one path that humanity should take. The other is the Jack Ma of Alibaba school of thought, where he says, forget all about that. Put all those dollars in elevating people out of poverty, climate change protection, water problems. Let's spend all those dollars on solving Earth's problems first, and not spend on the Elon Musk kind of, let's explore and find more habitats for our species. So your book assumes that that's the path humanity will take and go to Mars. But there is a lot of people who subscribe to this Jack Ma school of thought, that space exploration is like a tiny little kicks that man has got, and eventually will fade out. Will be settling here and solving the problems we have on Earth. What do you think of that?
I believe both approaches will actually occur. Nobody's going to stop Musk from going to Mars. Realistically, he has the money to fund it himself now, and he's a bright individual. He's collected many bright individuals around him. He will be on Mars likely in his own timetable. For that to turn into a successful colony or even a successful process will require decades. the within the book, what I believe, unfortunately, to be true, is that there will be large-scale collapses in our social and economic systems. I believe that's unavoidable, and there'll be deaths ranging in the hundreds of millions, and that will induce change on Earth. So Earth will change across the board because it will have to. We'll have to innovate in our energy technology. We already have the tech for it, but by the time we start putting those things into position, we'll be trying to catch up with ourselves. So, for example, if we were to try to completely shift to solar right now is the cheapest per kilowatt hour technology that we have is fully viable. Within the U.S., that there is still a very large motivation from oil companies to suppress by marketing the adoption of solar technology, even though we have the capability of putting it into position, and even though price per kilowatt is actually vastly cheaper than fossil fuels, and even though on the slide the companies are investing heavily into solar and other technologies themselves. By the time we get to that build out, we will be in there'll be a sudden rush to try to put that build out into position, which means we'll need massive amounts of energy to accomplish it for the manufacturing process, and massive amounts of just technician skill in order to make those types of changes to the power grid. Now, assuming that occurs worldwide, that's a great deal of difficulty that humanity is going to face. With the book, for book one, we're dealing really with the world that's been created post-apocalypse. I don't spend a great deal of time on suffering because I didn't want to write an apocalyptic book to start off with. And I wanted to show the pathway of hope that comes through that process. The fact is that humans have been through apocalypses before. It's happened historically. We've seen collapses of large empires that have impacted us for centuries. And within the book one is active about 60 to 80 years from now. So our process is much faster. But the fact is that both will occur, and unfortunately, it'll occur there'll be a large-scale investment, I believe, on reconciling our current problems, but only after tremendous suffering. That will be the only thing that generates the political will to do this.
Right. So the one thing that struck me real well is it's not just for the technical advancement that humanity will do this planetary livelihood or living, but not for the technical advancement alone per se, but because of compulsions of Earth's problems, we need to find more other places. I think that's quite interesting. Um, we will not be uh, finding solution on Earth itself, so there will be a uh, push from the social angle also to go up outer space, not just to build up the technology and all, is what I get. I have a couple of more questions, but I think it's better to open the questions to the readers, and then I think Lavanya, are you audio video
Yes,
setup?
I mean,
You're back. All right. So I was asking a couple of questions, waiting for you to join. In the meanwhile, if the readers, Shavlin, I thought was waiting to ask a question, or somebody who wants to ask questions to George can do that now. Go ahead, please.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I have a question. I think sci-fi genre, it has all started from the hyper reality, Jean Baudrillard's concept of hyper reality.
Okay.
So, how can you relate hyper reality to sci-fi genre in this particular book?
I would need a more specific example in order to
Like
comment.
hyper reality, it's a kind of reality that we assume is real, but it is not something real. It's a copy of a real copy. It's a
So,
simulation
Shaolin,
or
may I
something
add
like
here
that.
for the benefit of
Yes,
George?
sir. Yes.
Shaolin is pursuing a doctorate in literature, so we might have to ask her questions to normal human beings what she means. She is pursuing a doctorate in literature right now. Go ahead, Shaolin. Yeah. What exactly you mean by hyperreality? What is that?
Actually, I am reviewing hyperreality for my research purposes, and it is to an extent related to sci-fi genre. What I feel, it has all started from the hyperreality, where the question there comes skepticism to reality. People have started questioning reality, and it is just because of the advancement in technology. It has, now changed into a more prominent and dominant term that is known as sci-fi genre, where people are too much into technology, into social media, mobile phones, laptops, and far away from physical world. So the kind of emotions they are getting into because the thing that has, um, that has got my attention tomorrow, and the specific one is love and troubles. So this is something is related to human emotions,
Yes.
right? Human emotions that are getting disturbed because of the intrusion of internet technology. So we are getting help of internet to the way you said, to go back to the past that we had, and thinking about the future that is coming. So how we can relate this to your novel, where you were saying that the main protagonist, that was Cecia, right? If I'm not
Cassie,
wrong.
Cassie, Cassie.
Cassie. Okay, Cassie. Okay. She trying to approach to things of the past that is related to her mother. So how she gonna relate those things with the help of technology, or is something, how can we relate this hyper reality sci-fi genre to this story that you are talking about in your novel?
In the novel, there's a pervasive piece of technology known as the screens. And so what happens is, imagine that we have a computer monitor that can be is like cloth and can be draped across all surfaces. And so if you surround everything in your room, or drape this across everything in your room, what happens is that the monitor, which is this ever-present cloth, can perfectly mimic any environment that you're in. As soon as that happens, what happens is that the brain starts to fill in some of the other pieces of sensory data. So, for example, if you were sitting in a garden within the screens, you would not be able to visually distinguish it from being in a garden in real life or outdoors, and the mind will periodically simulate some of the details. So you might feel a breeze, you might smell the flowers because you remember those smells. And at a more extreme level, there are basically these screen dens where people use an illegal hallucinogenic narcotic that suppresses the ability to distinguish between the screen senses and being in the real world. So for them, the experience is complete across all five senses. They will feel physical pressures. They will regard everything around them as being completely real. So, and that's regarded as being a problem because it is in fact illegal to use those drugs within the book, because people can no longer create any distinguishment between reality and the screen reality. And it creates a situation where people can disappear into that. There's just an overwhelming saturation of the senses. And for Cassie to resolve her own issues, what happens is that as she starts exploring her mother's disappearance, she triggers a piece of software that her mother left embedded in a vid, basically a screen from her past, kind of like family home movies, but much more in depth. And then Cassie starts to interact with this vid, and in order to try to determine what happened to her mother. And the technology, the character with it that her mother leaves her as this piece of software is compelling and very much like her mother, but it is considered to be a problem within this era of having that type of pervasive or synthetic reality. And within the book, what we see is many of the shortcomings that's created within personal relationships because of the screen technology. Somewhere between, somewhere in the process of going through the book, what happens is that as the reader, we realize that Cassie has no true physical relationships, even though the book is about relationships. And in part, she has immersed herself in this screen world, both to insulate herself and to create connection. So she has a combination of being insulated from interacting with other people, but she uses the same technology to create connection with other people. So it is, in fact, it's an extension of the current problems we're facing with social technology and an exploration of those at the same time.
Thank you, sir. It's an interesting, I think, piece of work. I will definitely read it. This will help me in my research. So thank you so much.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you for your question.
Okay. Lavanya is back. So
there are
take.
many concepts.
Lavanya is back.
that
So
George
Lavanya,
has
take it from here. Who's asking the
introduced,
question? Sorry.
No, just wanted to add a few things to Shavlin's question.
Go ahead, please. Yeah.
So I was just saying that George has introduced many different concepts in the book, which definitely will give you a lot of material for your whatever thing you're researching. One of things, like all of us know about artificial intelligence, AI. George has introduced something which is more beyond artificial intelligence. It is I am. It is intuitive algorithm. Am I right, George? And then he also talks about glyph motif, right? So there are many things in that which will actually help you to establish or connect between hyper reality, the question that we're asking. So it's an
Yeah.
excellent book for your research as well. All right. Any more questions?
I don't know.
I said this, sorry, George, I spoke a little bit on your behalf because I've been reading the book and also saw the video, so I was also able to connect with what Shavlin was asking.
Right.
All right, any more questions, Dennis? Come on. Where are our sci-fi readers, literary readers?
One question, madam. How many months it has taken to write this book, sir?
So Mr. Mark is asking, how many months did you take to complete this book?
I started it in, I did the backstory work starting in 2017. I wrote the bulk of the book in 2018 and roughly the last 30% in the first half of 2019. So you're talking about 2.5 years, I would say. There's a, but I've also laid the foundation of a series. There's already, during that time when writing the backstory, I mapped out effectively 3 books. And so I'm partway through book 2 right now.
Right. I look forward to it. The next book. But I haven't finished reading the first book, but yes, I will always do it. As it is, it's interesting. Okay. All right. So, George, why don't you read a passage from the book? You were saying that it basically started from that passage, that scene in your mind. Can we
Okay. This is from chapter 2. It's relatively early on. You'll recognize or the discussion of the mill scene where the whole process started. It was a recurring dream that I had. Samuel, who I refer to as Cassie's pet dog, who was actually proved to be very popular with readers over time now. So Samuel, wait up. Tomorrow was the spring equinox. There would be people out strolling, trying to catch the last remnants of the more seasonable winter temperatures. Spring marked the movement into an intense and unpleasant rainy season where only the most determined of strollers ventured around. Samuel! Cassie caught up to him, and Samuel looked up at her with his dark, round, pug eyes. Cassie clipped the leash onto his collar, and they were off down the trail. It was a solid, packed clay trail peppered by round stones. Cassie could smell the river to her left before she could see it or hear it. It smelled both fresh and slightly of decay. The pug grunted and pulled her more toward the river. Cassie followed him down to the branch of the trail that ran immediately adjacent to the river along the bank. The trail was muddy. Samuel charged through it, coating his belly with red soil. "You're a little bulldozer, aren't you?" Cassie stepped gingerly around the mud. There was a small rise ahead, surrounded by early milkweed. Samuel pulled her up to it and started to sniff among the stones. Cassie left him to his explorations and watched the river. The water was blue-gray and slightly swollen in the banks. There had been significant winter rains. Immediately below the rise there was a small gravel island. The water had submerged about a quarter of what was normally exposed. A rusted wheel rim lay partly buried in the middle of the island. Tufts of grass rose through the gaps in it. Cassie drew the image into her and broke it into a series of small details. Powerful scene creation wasn't about reality. Otherwise, scenes would be composed of panoramic scans. Panoramic scans were usually financial losers. Building a scene was about selecting the correct details for impact. Across the river, the other bank was heavy with trees. The branches layered over one another and created an undulating carpet in the breeze. From the tree cover, there rose an ancient brick building. It was a mill or a textile plant. Cassie wasn't certain. She had briefly chatted with a historian doing a screen tour of the area about it. It may have been a mill at first, and then became a textile plant. She glanced upstream and could see a bump pass along the breadth of the river, the last remainder of the dam that had brought energy and economy to this area. And that's it.
That's nice. Thank you so much. Okay, anyone has any more questions? Or else I will pop a quiz question. Anyone has any questions for George? Okay. Yeah.
A small minor,
Sci-fi.
a small minor question, Lavanya.
Yeah. Go ahead.
George remarked that, and when you asked him that science fiction focused on the technology part and kind of went away from the social uh, transformative impact that it has. But science fiction never went away from human relationships. They might have gone away from it might have gone away from the societal transformative aspect of it. But even if you watch science fiction movies like what is that movie, Intergalaxy? It's about a father and daughter relationship across time. So
Interstellar.
Interstellar.
Interstellar, yes.
Thank you so much.
Right.
Interstellar was out and out a science fiction, futuristic technology. Everything was there, but at the core ran the relationship between the father and a daughter. So I think though science fiction is obsessed with the technology and moved away from social issues, never went away from personal relationships. Is what I think. What do you say?
I agree. That is definitely a characteristic of good sci-fi. If you look at most classic pieces in literature or other things like that, they're essentially about human relationships. If you had the question about Julius Caesar earlier on, and the reason that was a successful play was because of the relationship among the characters. It wasn't because it was a history of Caesar's conquests or Caesar's writings. And so if we see something I think as successful as Interstellar was when it came to the movies, it's because of the human relationships. It's not because you have a spaceship flying through the air. Although at a more drier technical level, I would look at that and examine the ships and such. And the compelling part of it is definitely the relationship. And with that film, one of the reasons it's compelling is it also looks at, well, what could we do as humans in the future? It's not that those components have disappeared completely from sci-fi. It's that they are less common. And I think again, with Interstellar, you're dealing with the kind of the cream of the crop of development when it comes to that creative. If you look at a lot of the books that are produced currently for sci-fi, they have some relationship present within it and some character development, but many times that's actually contracted to a very small part of what the text is about. But there's no doubt that Interstellar is about that relationship. And I would say it even successfully portrays some images of the future. Not a great deal of the social impact of the technology, but definitely an image of the future.
Thank you. That was the last question from me. Lavanya. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Should we try one more quiz question? Anybody's up for a quiz question? Okay, let's try one. A simple one, probably. Okay, Swapni, you're ready to share your screen?
Yes.
And just going the question. Okay. So this is a famous quote. You guys have to tell me who quoted this. Works of art are our chief means of breaking bread with the dead. Works of art are our chief means of breaking bread with the dead. Hey, no, wrong question. So, yeah.
I'm sorry. Got it. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. Okay, anybody? Hey, options. Show the options, please.
Time लगता है खाते में नहीं है.
Options, please. Multi-choice.
See the screen.
C.S. Lewis, T.S. Eliot. W.
For me, W.H. Auden.
Which one? No.
For me, D. W.H. Auden.
Lavanya, your voice is breaking. Shavlin says the answer to this is D. W.H. Auden. Works of art are our chief means of breaking bread with the dead. And Shavlin's answer is Auden.
Any takers?
I mean, this looks like a Charles Bukowski quote or a Neil Gaiman, but my options are not there on the screen. Or a Kurt Vonnegut, Ray Bradbury. Those are the
Okay,
guys.
I am seriously having a lot of network.
Right. So I don't know the answer.
It is T.S. Eliot.
Okay.
T.S. Eliot.
Mark sir says it's Eliot.
Shalin is.
What is the correct answer, Swapnil?
Right answer is D. Auden.
Oh,
D.
Swapnil gets it. The first giveaway today of the book.
Correct.
She's got the right answer. So Swapnil, what is the book she's gonna get?
So I think we will give our Advent, our first anthology.
All right. Okay.
Being first anthology of HydRAW is close to our hearts, right? So
we'll give it away free of cost. Okay. All right,
yes.
Shavlin, you have won a book today. If you can give your address to Swapnil, we have that book shipped out. But don't forget to buy Blues and Steenrod's tomorrow, Love and Troubles.
Tomorrow.
Right.
I will, sir. They have become my new favorites.
Great. Okay. So waiting for Lavanya to join back. Otherwise, she has joined. There you go. Do you have one more question, Swapnil?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You want to close all the questions? All right, go ahead.
No, this is
Yeah, so I have not, I haven't put what do you call the answers there. So
okay. One last question. What is this?
yes, can you hear the audio?
Yes, yes, yes. No, we can't hear the audio.
No, no audio.
No audio.
No audio. Go for a text question then.
Okay.
But what was the
So
what was the
I
question?
have the question in the text as well. So
Okay.
I'll just
Last one for
display it.
today. Okay. In Charles Dickens'
Yes.
Oliver Twist, what food does Oliver famously ask for more when he says, "Please, sir, I want some more"?
So I quickly can give options.
Bread, soup, cheese, gruel. Okay. Any takers?
Take a guess, right? Anyone can take
I
a guess.
think C cheese.
Shavlin goes for sea cheese. Anybody else? Dhruva, why don't you take a guess? Oh, he's not there. Okay.
No, it's bread.
Okay. Dhruva goes for bread. Bread and cheese gone. Soup and gruel left. Who's taking them? B and D. A bread Dhruva. C cheese Shavlin. Going 3. Going 2. Okay. What's the answer, Lavanya?
It's okay. Go ahead.
Okay, Swapnil, what's the answer?
It's Gruel D.
D. Gruel. Come on, guys. How can you not read Charles Dickens? That too, Oliver Twist.
At least we thought, if people
I
didn't
don't even know what is grill.
Even I don't know. That's why I didn't guess. Take the guess. So. Gruel means what?
Old English. That's why we should read classics more.
Yeah, it is what do you call, like your cereal, like oats, or
Okay.
yeah, the
So,
cereal is
so the British call cereal as gruel, kind of.
yeah.
All
So
right.
it is
Okay.
like boiled in water, like how we make oats or maybe upma kind of thing.
Okay. Okay. All right. Lavanya, your audio is connection is good now.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
sorry.
Okay. Okay. Take
Yeah,
it. Take it from here.
network problems. I think we can close the quiz session here. All right. So what an excellent evening we had. We had Dhuva's book on mental health, and then we had Steenrod's book, George's book on tomorrow, love and troubles. But out and out, I think today's session was on love. Right. So a couple of days back, I had written a poem on love, and I write poems minimalistic lines, very subtle, not direct. And today, in the morning, when I was watching George's video clip, and I was making about Dhruva's passage, I thought, why not add some more lines to my own poem that reflects the crux of these two books? And so on the go, just before 6 p.m., an hour back, I finished the poem. I wrote more lines to it, and I thought, let this poem conclude this wonderful session. And then after I read out the poem, I'll just hand over to Mabel for a bit of thanks and continue the session. So I hope all of you are not very tired and exhausted and too much bombarded with the technical and sci-fi this thing. So let's all relax a little bit and enjoy what is love. Okay. So here comes the poem. So the title of the poem is How Do You Love? How do you love? Like fire, like snow. Like fire in the snow and like snow in the fire. How do you love? Like fire, like snow, like fire in the snow, and like snow in the fire. Like a fist against the rules society made. Like a dagger piercing the wheels of hypocrisy. Like wings flying to eternity. Like roots solid, grounded to infinity. The next two verses The first verse is about blues. The next last verse is about tomorrow, love and troubles. How do you love when you're creator? How do you love when you're a creator and have nothing to offer? How do you love when you're a volcano ready to destroy everything? Tomorrow, how do you love? Now, tomorrow, who do you love? The chocolate boy or girl next door, or the love humanoid that you bought just for $5? Tomorrow, who do you love? The human that you wear, or the induced richer experience? Who do you love and how do you love when I am consciousness has merged with I.A.M, intuitive algorithm? Who do you love and how do you love? Thank you. Over to you, Mahbub.
Today, tomorrow, day after, we'll always love poetry. Okay. May not be science fiction, may not be mental health genre. Humanity will always be in love with poetry. Okay. If there is
Right. And
no
that's the question in the end of the poem. Who do you
right,
love? The humanity or
right,
what? The virtual
right.
reality.
So if there is no humans around, we'll keep loving poetry. Is what I'm saying. So,
I think that makes us more human.
right.
Poetry makes us more human.
And eventually, a future generation poet like you in the future will write, "What is love?" They won't even know what it means. So, yeah. Okay. So that concludes today's session with these wonderful lines from one of the most amazing poets that we all know, not at fully got that recognition and glory that she truly deserves. What amazing and dazzling poet she is, Lavanya. Great job today. And thanks to you, Dhruva. Thanks to Justine Rod for bringing out such beautiful works into our fold. We will try our best to send out this today's session and the purchase links to our members on WhatsApp, Meetup, and other social media handles of our collaboration. And with that, it's a wrap up here for all the people. And thanks a lot to the chief guest, Dr. Markandeyulu, who gave us such a nice start to what literature is, the usage of words, the interconnectivity of words, or the impact that words can have, and so be this not only useful advice for the authors but for everybody. And I am the one to take that advice very well, that I should use my words very careful and never be nasty. So with those, I mean, some things that people may think are normal are always may be nasty for others. So use your words with care in your writing, in your talk, in your uh, matters. So wonderful piece of advice from Markandeyulu sir on all the aspects of literature. A proud day for you, Dhruva. You will always remember December 12th December 2021, the book, the day you became a global author, and we'll always remember this day as the first event that HydRAW conducted. Um, with an international author, and that opens up the perspectives, and may the spirit continue where artists and creators from across the world exchange ideas, come together, collaborate, write books, make movies, and we truly become a global humanity before going to Mars. So let's unite here first and then think of loving thy neighbor on Mars. Let's do that first on Earth. The teachings of God we haven't done properly till now. Our job is not done. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, or do unto others what you would want others do to you. We haven't implemented them properly by now. let's do it fast because the time to go to Mars is soon around the corner. And Mike and Steenrod's book is about 6 years. Amazing price. Go for it, guys, for the next 2 days. And thank you once again so much for such a delightful evening today. Starting with chief guest Dr. Markandeyulu sir, Dhruva, his friends, family, and supporters,
Thank you.
and George Steenrod for giving us so much new things that we didn't know about science fiction, and so nice to hear that his sequel is a prequel to his current book. So I can, yeah. So, a wonderful evening. It's a wrap from here. Take care, guys. Good night for those in India. Have a good day, George, and hope we'll all connect again and again through this wonderful medium of literature. And a very great job done today, Lavanya. Congratulations to you also.
Okay. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Bye bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Thank you
It's
and
a
good
wrap
night
from
to
here. Take
everybody.
care. Bye bye.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye bye. Take care, all. Thank you. See you next time.
See.